Welcome to Waypoint Connect. It's so great that you guys are with us, joining us for another fun-filled episode. And it's my pleasure to introduce Hannah Stroud. Hannah, it's really great that you're here with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here today.
So you're from PE?
I am born and raised.
Right, but you've got an amazing project that you just finished. What did you study at university?
So I am a graduate for the Mechatronics, BEng Mechatronics at NMU. So that is the integration of mechanical, electrical and IT principles together. This year I had to create a project that integrated all of those concepts, and I ended up with an amazing project that made a robotic hand. So I had to develop a glove that could wirelessly communicate with this robotic hand, and yeah, it was really a growing process.
And what I love about this project of yours is, apart from the fact that it's amazing to think of all the things behind the scenes that need to work in order to execute effectively on your project. So that in itself is an amazing achievement. But what I really love about what you shared is the story of how this developed and kind of God's hand in all of this.
Yeah, that's fun. So I started Mechatronics a long time ago, a couple of years ago, and I wasn't exactly sure if I was doing the right thing. I didn't know if this was what God's called for me. And
so this is your first year?
This is my first year,
and you're like, you're in there and you're asking this question,
like am I supposed
I'm doing
to be
this,
here?
but am I supposed to?
Exactly. Am I supposed to go do something else, like maths, or, I don't know. But so I got involved in certain sections of the university and ended up at an open day. And I don't know if you know how the open day is set up, but all the different departments set up little stands, and they bring their students and basically try and show you what the possibilities are in a certain course. So I went to this, I'm in my first year already, I'm in the course, but I'm still like, oh, let me just go see what the Mechatronics stands has for me. So I went and looked, and there was this one student who was in his final year, and he'd made this robotic hand, and I just looked at this thing and looked at it moving, and I just thought, yes, this is crazy. How did he do this? How did he get from where I am to this place where he's made this amazing robot that's moving like that, And it was very intimidating. But I also just thought, sure, okay, maybe I can get there. I'm not sure, but if I can, then I'm definitely going to have to make a decision now. So I drove home from there, and I sat in my house, and I just thought, no man, let's just go try something. So I went into the garage.
Let's MacGyver this.
Yeah, let's MacGyver this, let's just see what we have. So I went into the garage and found these little pipes, and I cut them, I took my hand and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, cut this there. And I got some craft string and tied some string to the end and ran it through. And my dad had been flying these radio controlled airplanes. So he had those remote controls, hectic, remote controls. So I quickly, like you said, okay, he's not home, let me just borrow it for a little bit. And a few of his little motors, connected this thing, and eventually got it to just move and do something. And I thought, okay, this is step one. We can get later, if we can just get here, then you know what, let's just give the rest to God and then you see where it goes. Then just amazingly at the beginning of this year, I had to choose a project. And the way our department works is that we get a list of topics, and from the list of topics you basically write your list. And on the day of selection, they choose your name out of a hat randomly, and if your name comes up, you get to choose. But you never know when your name's going to come up. So you could be the first chosen or the last chosen, you never know. So I wrote my list, and I was prepared, and I was there. And my name didn't get called, and I was scratching off my list. And then it didn't get called, and I'm scratching off the list. And then eventually my my topics are getting less and less and less and less.
So they're drawing a name out of the
they're
hat,
drawing,
and you get to choose first.
And you get to choose first.
And you now dropping down, and your name's not coming up.
Exactly.
Options are getting less.
Because all of us have the same options. And on that list was this project, this robotic hand project, but there were also other really great projects. So I didn't put this robotic hand on top on the list because I didn't know, I wasn't really confident in what I should do. So I just, made my list. I just made it, I just thought, okay, well, let me just rank it by what's cool.
Yeah.
So then these names are dropping, and then only later does my name come up. And what project is left on my list after everything, after scratching out almost every name, the one that is left for me is the robotic hand. So I take it. And only later on did I actually realize the significance of it, because I didn't in the moment, even when the topics came out, I didn't realize that this was the exact project I was looking at. Was it 4 or 5 years ago? This was the exact motivation to get to the next step.
Yeah, that was your confirmation of I'm in the right space. This is what God wants me to do.
This is where God is taking me here, and He's going to get me to the next spot. He's going to get me through this degree. He has a plan for my life. And I think that it didn't stop there. So now I have this project, and I feel really good because I feel like I have confidence and confirmation that this is where I'm supposed to be. And
so it's going to be smooth sailing from you,
yeah,
right?
It's going to be,
This is your project.
Exactly. No, definitely not. We still had the late nights. We still had the not knowing if you're doing the right thing. I think a lot of the communication from my lecturer was like, some of it came and some of it didn't come, and I wasn't always sure where I was going. I wasn't always sure if I was doing enough research, if I was doing the right research, if I was going on the right path. Like I was never sure. And just the amazing thing is that every step of the way when I wasn't sure, it was just, there was something that confirmed what I wasn't sure about. So there would be some sort of I don't know, there would just be a way that God stepped in to say, I'm going to take you to the next step. I'm going to, maybe I'm not going to solve this problem right now, but I will solve the bigger problem. I will get you there. So, and even as I started to build this thing, because the first 6 months of the year is just researching, and the next 6 months of the year is building it. So when you get to the first 6 months, you think you know what you're doing, but now you theoretically know it's going to work. You don't know if it's actually going to practically work out for, So now we're getting into, August, September, and I've got all these components that I've bought, and they're sitting on the table, and I'm looking at them, and I'm terrified because I don't know how to connect. I theoretically know it should go like this, but I don't practically know where to put it. And the resources that I just happened to stumble upon, it just it was written, it was written for me. And and even towards the very, very end, He still came through. He still sat there and sat with me in the very late nights, and He still gave me the opportunity to find where certain things weren't working. There was even an instance where one of my components blew 2 days before it was supposed to be handed in. It was due date, my component had been destroyed, and I didn't know which it was.
Imagine handing that project in and saying the dog ate my component.
Exactly, you can't. That's not an option. That's not, so. And the thing with engineering is you never know. You don't all of a sudden, something's not working.
It's in essence a simulation of real life.
Yeah.
You just tested this.
Exactly.
Handing it over to the client. Next moment it's not working. Okay.
Exactly.
Troubleshoot what's going wrong.
And you don't know what's wrong. You don't all of a sudden know. You can kind of you follow the path to find where the issue is. But all you know is that it's not moving. It's just not moving. So it was just like I had to go through the process of finding, okay, this component's working on its own, this component's working on its own, this one, this one, this one. And eventually found out that it was this little power supply, and I was distraught because I thought, okay, now it's the day before, it's a Saturday, it's like late in the night of a Saturday, no one's open on a Sunday, so I'm just gonna have to hand this thing in. Well, not working. There's no way I can get this tiny little component. No one's gonna have it. I'm gonna have to buy it online, wait another week. And so I messaged my friends in Mechatronics, and then we said, listen guys, my project's not working. How are you doing? How's yours going?
I've got time now to message you.
Yeah, that's how it's going. And I ended up, my one friend said, listen, and just come on a call. Let's just have a conversation. And we have this group that we all, it's the four of us, and we kind of come in and out of the call as you please.
Yeah.
And there was one friend that has gone, and we haven't heard from her in like a whole year. Like since she got her project, she's kind of been working and busy, and we haven't heard from her. So when I'm speaking to my one friend Ethan, and we're talking about my project, I'm just saying, listen, there's nothing I can really do. Then what does she do? She jumps on the call. I haven't heard from her in a year, but she jumps on the call and says, oh, hi, Sue, how are you doing? And she says, oh, yeah, how are you going? I said, no, my project's not doing well. How's yours? No, it's good, thanks. And she says, oh, but what's wrong with yours? What's going on? I said, oh, I don't know, but I think it's this little power supply thing, and I don't know, there's nothing really I can do about it. And she says, what, the 12 volt to 5 volt downscale, that one. Yeah, but no one really has anything. And she says, I have one, I'll bring it to you quickly. And so she drove to my house and gave this thing and solved my problem for me. And
that's just too random to be random.
It's too random to be random. How I don't understand how. And that's just a small instance of just the way that he's just stepped in a way that I could never have imagined. I could never have thought that she was going to be able to solve that problem. So I just felt that I was just sinking deeper and deeper and deeper into what he wanted me to see, which was that he's actually been there the whole time. I've been anxious, I've been worried, I've been fearful, and he's been there anyway. And he's just had a plan. That was just amazing.
A big takeaway from your story is two things. One is how God's constantly involved. It's not like he's just there now and then, like checking in, like your grandparents that don't live with you, like you see them once or twice a year, just checking in to see that you're okay. Our relationship with God isn't that.
No.
But then on the other hand, what we as people tend to do is we forget the moments that we had with God, and we carry on with our life. And then we're reminded, and then we realize, but I should have learned that lesson, because I did learn that lesson already. I shouldn't have forgotten that. And that's kind of an encouragement for this year as we start this new year, is to just take a moment and reflect on the previous year and ask the question, where did God come through for me? What did God show me last year? What did I learn from that? And not forget those lessons, those moments, that time that I spent with God, and just use that as a platform to grow strong and move forward in 2022. And push forward into a successful year, because we're still going to get curveballs from the Zeta version and the as long as we don't get to the Omega version, because then we're finished and there's no option left after that. But there's always going to be curveballs. But God's the one constant that we can trust on, and it's as if we just learning these lessons over and over. But if we remember them and we move forward, from there, it's a different dynamic.
I think we definitely are. We tend to remember the bad. We remember the things that went wrong, and we forget the things that went right. And we forget the times where God stepped in and delivered us from that trial that we went through. We don't remember that. We just remember the trial. So I think it's definitely going to be a challenge for us to just to remember all the good and remember all the times that we were really pushed and then were taken, we were taken to that next level. We were taken to, we were delivered from there. So, I think it's going to be a real big challenge for us.
Anna, thank you very much for spending this time with us. I think it's a great project that you finished, and
thank you.
All the best for this new year that's ahead for you as well.
Thank you very much.
And remember, if you're pushing in 2022, you want to make the best of it. Don't forget what has happened in 2021, the good and the bad, and what God did for you and how God came through during that period. And build on that and move forward from there. And remember, have a great week.